Alright, in this video we are going to see how to create this slideshow slider using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. We would be creating this from scratch, starting with HTML, CSS and JavaScript. And to follow along, I'll leave the source code in the description. In case if you got stuck somewhere, just copy paste the code and start along with me. So let me show you what it does. Now if I click on this arrow button, you'll see this, you can see the slides followed with the dots. You can see the second slide show up and the third slide show up. Once we reach the third slide, you will see again the first slide will show up. The same way, if you press the previous button, first this is the third slide, second one, and once it reaches to the one, it will again move to the third slide. So you can see there is some fade animation here. Along with that, you will see this fade animation also work. If you want to move to the first slide, just click on first slide. If you want to move to the third slide, you can click on third slide. The same way, second slide. Fine. Let's get started. Now in the same folder I have images. Let me just show you the images. Image 1, image 2 and image 3, and then I have one HTML file, CSS file and JavaScript file. Let me to start, we need 3 files, which is HTML, CSS and JavaScript. I am going to name the index HTML file as index2.html. Why index2? It is because we have already index file in the same folder. To avoid name conflict, I am doing this. The same way, let me just add style sheet, which I am going to name it as style2.css. Now as the script tag, Ctrl N, Ctrl S, script2.js. Now for the HTML, exclamatory tab. Now let me link the style sheet, link style2.css. The same way, it is better to link the script tag at the bottom, script2.js. Now let me just copy paste the HTML to save some time, and I'll explain you. First of all, let me just hide this and we'll go step by step. Let me comment the dots as well. Now just to show you, we have a container. Inside the container we have slideshow, and as a main parent we have 3 childrens for the slideshow. So let me call it, let me add this for all element. Let me remove the margin and padding, and let me add box sizing border box. Now we have container. Inside the container we have slideshow. Inside the slideshow we have image holder. Inside the image holder we have image. So this is it for the start. Let me just check the spelling for image holder. Now let me just call this index2.html. Now for the HTML, I need the font awesome cdn as well. I'm just copying it and pasting it just above our index style sheet, which is recommended to place our other cdn CSS just above our custom CSS. Now this is how it looks. Now for all element, let me make whatever is there inside the body I want to do at the center. So display flex, align item center, which will vertically align, justify content center, which will horizontally align. Now for the container, let me have the width and height for the container. Width of 500 pixel and height of 400 pixel, which is the height of image. Let me give this to the slideshow as well as for image holder, and the image will follow the height and width of the parent. In this case the parent is image holder. Now let me individually target each input field, each image container. N child, first, second, third, and I want to make it display none. I'll show you why I'm doing this. I just need to show only 1, 2 and 3. I just need to show only one image. Now this height vertically align is not working. It is because we have not given height to the body. Height 100% of viewport height. Viewport is nothing but the browser screen. Now if I at a moment only one image is going to show up, that's why I am making this display none for the rest two, and I'm keeping the one as it is. Now we have, let's just style the dots. The dots has 3 span tag with class active for 1. The dots has span tag with class active on the first span tag. So since this span is an inline element, we have to make this inline block so that we can give width and height to the span tag. Width, let's say 20 pixel, and height, let's say 20 pixel, and background color black, and I want to be a circle, so border radius 50%, and whatever is there I want to be at the center, so display flex. And it's inside the container. You'll see this is inside the container, so let's give display flex, so it will be like one after the other, side by side. I want to be at the one below the other, so display flex direction column will make the magic. So horizontal line center, so justify content center. Cool. Now for the dots, let's just have the margin of 1 rem, so that works. And let's have the opacity of 0.2 or 0.4, and only when it's active I want the opacity to be 1. Cool. Now let's design the class previous and class next. So for that we have to make the container position relative, because we are going to use position absolute. Whenever we use position absolute, the container should have position relative. So next, so let the width be, we don't need to give width, let's give the padding of 1 rem, let's give the background as black, let's give the color of the icon as white. Let's see how does it looks. So position absolute left, so this is going to be right of 0, and top 50%, so that it will be at the center. So transform translate y 50%. So whenever we have top 50%, we need to make transform translate -y. Cool. Now let's just make this 5% -5%. The same way, when I hover on it, I want it to be cursor. So when I hover it, I want it to be cursor. The same way that you copy this and make this for the previous icon VREV, which are class. Now instead of right, it's going to be left. Cool. The CSS part is done. Now it's time for JavaScript. So we need to let me just close the style sheet, and we will not be focusing as of now the plus slides function. We'll be just focusing on the current slides. So what I did for the current slide, I am passing individual index number 1, 2 and 3. 1 refers to the first, 2 refers to the second image holder, the 3 refers to the third image holder. So let me define that function. So we'll be getting the number either 1, 2 or 3. So before doing anything, let me define a variable called slide, which will be 0, and let's define the image holder document.querySelector, which is a class, so period is important. Query selector all, I want all hyphen image holder. Now what I need to do, once I click on the current slide function, let me make the current slide function control V slide2.css. For the span, let's make the cursor pointer, so when I hover it, you'll see the cursor change to pointer. Cool. Now when I click on the second button, what should happen? Only the second, which is only the second should have style dot display equal to block. So if I click on second, that means this will have the index 2, so this 2 will be called and it will be display none. So let me just console and check. Console.log, let me pass the n, and the same way, whether we are getting the second value or not, we will checking with console again. So if I click on second, n equal to 2, yes, n equal to 2, and then image holder we will getting 2, second image holder. Let me just check whether it's actually the second image holder or something different. So the thing is, we are getting the third, so what we need to do is we have to make this -1, because we are passing 1 2 3, but over here we can access the first image holder with index 0, the second image holder with index 1, and the third image holder with index 3. So that's the reason. If I click on 2, you will see the second one is getting the display block, so that means it's working. Now what we need to do is, once I click on the second, if I click on third, only the third one should show up, all the others should get display none. So for that I'll be running a for loop. Variable I equal to 0, I is greater than image holder dot length, then I plus plus. So a for loop will be run, and the for loop will make all the input field, all the image holder will have style dot display none, so that on the second line only the selected will have display block and all of them will have display none. Click on third, only third one will show up, only second one will show up, and only first one will show up. The same way I want some animation, so for the animation let me just define it. We'll see on the span image holder I have added an animation, and don't forget to add forwards, or else it will show and then it will hide itself if forwards is not mentioned. Starting the opacity from 0 and end to the opacity 1. Now if I refresh, you can see second, third one shows up, second one shows up, first one shows up. Accordingly, when I click on each button, I want the class active to get added. So for that, the same way, we'll be using the same trick. This time we'll be calling all these spans, all spans. Now again we'll be running a for loop with this time on spans, and span will have class. First it will be removed, class list dot remove the added active class, and on the next line pass the index number, and according to the index number add class. Don't forget to add -1, as I said. The n will be 1 2 3, but the span value will be from 0 1 2. Second, there is some error on line number 13. Cannot read properties of undefined. So let me just check again. On the console, uncaught error, read properties of undefined class list. We need to check whether, yeah, it's a class. It's not a class, it's an element. So second, third, that means it's working. Now instead of current slide, what we'll do is we'll copy this and we'll create a function slide show, and over here we'll pass the n. The same way on page load, I want instead of n, 1 should be passed. On page load 1 will be passed. So this time get into the style sheet and add a display none on all the elements. So when page loads, the first one will show up. Refresh it. There's some error, n is not defined. Okay, we need to pass some value. Let's say you can give any name. I'm just preferring n. So this is first, this is second, and this is third. So that's working as we thought. Now it's time for the preview, previous and the next. So let me just copy paste the function. So here we are adding plus. So if I click on right, 1 will be added. If I click on left, -1 will be added. So let's define this function. So we'll be getting either 1 or -1. So accordingly, now instead of passing n, what I'll do is let's assign the value slide equal to n, and then slide plus equal to, either it is going to be +1, either it is going to be -1. Now let me just check the value of n console.log on pressing the previous and next button. So if I click on next, it is not defined on line number 24. On line number 38, I guess. Line number 13. So actually I have made x, but I'm passing n. So let's make this x. So let me just show you the value. By default it is 1. So if I click 1, so 1 plus 1, 2. Again it is adding again 3. So if I click again, you will see 4. So here we need to add a condition. If the n value is greater than 3 or greater than the length of the span, what we need to do is we need to make the value of the n as 1, because we need to start again, and we need to make the slide also 1. Let's check again. The first one value is n, the second value is slide. Refresh. 2, 3. Once it reaches 3, it should start from 1. So fine, that's working. The same way, if I click on -1, you'll see -1 slide is not working. We need to do this again. If it is less than 1, then we need to make the n and slide as the length of the image holder. Sorry, length of the span, you can see, or anything. Instead of span, we need to make this image holder. The same way we need to assign image holder, because once it reaches to 1, it should start from 3. That's the reason. Once it reaches 1, it should start from 3. So that means it's working. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening. Visually is also working.